Yes, as I said, things could go wrong. There could be unprecedented events that change the pattern of 160 years of history. That's what happened here. Two things. Number one, disinformation. We've always had disinformation, but disinformation has exploded to an unprecedented degree. You talked about a grievance election, but a lot of that grievance was driven by disinformation. Starts with Fox News and conservative media, conservative podcasters with tens of millions of views. But we've seen something brand new this time. The 300 billionaire Elon Musk putting his thumb on the scales through his control of X, formerly Twitter. It's been reported that his misinformation has had billions, literally billions of views. And this has spread to every aspect of this election. There is misinformation about everything about the economy, inflation, jobs, unemployment, the stock market, growth. There is vast disinformation about undocumented immigrants, that they're supposedly killers who are out to get you. In fact, studies by Cato and the National Institute of Justice show undocumented immigrants are the most law abiding segment of our society, committed crimes and violent crimes, less than half that of native born Americans. It spread to the hurricane relief, spreading lies that hurricane relief dollars were being diverted to migrants. It's lies about the Ukraine war, that somehow Ukraine was responsible for having one of the world's great powers invade a third or fourth rate power. And, as scholars have shown, once you dissolve truth, democracy dissolves along with it.
I'm tired of this little narrative that these paranoid liberals, historians. This guy's a historian apparently. So he has this thing called the keys, the 13 keys that he believes that helps determine what an election is. I think someone in the comment section shared it, if I remember correctly. But yeah, this guy said, "Oh, misinformation is the biggest reason why," and you're right. It is misinformation from liberal media, which is the majority of media. Right? Do I have to show clips again? How much when Donald Trump made a claim about COVID-19 coming from China, you guys claimed it as false. Later on, it was proven to be true. You guys made us try to pretend or gaslight the American people into believing that natural immunity wasn't a thing. Like, you guys were denying science, but here you are lecturing us about misinformation, disinformation, right? Here's the keys that he's talking about here. 13 keys from Professor Lechtman. Party mandate, Trump had that. Party contest, Trump had a primary, unlike Kamala Harris. Incumbency, Harris is considered the incumbent. She's part of the incumbent party. Third party didn't play much of a factor, but RFK did align himself with Donald Trump, which made him the more centrist candidate. Short-term economy, you saw the economic effects of Trump being considered president-elect. People are more optimistic about the future of the country, the economy, long-term tax cuts. Trump's going to renew that. We all are in an interdependent relationship. If one does well, they have the opportunity to do well to the other part. Policy change. Trump is the change candidate. Social unrest, inflation is 26% higher than when Trump first came into office compared to when he's coming in now. Scandals. Biden has a lot of scandals when it comes to the political lawfare he waged against Donald Trump. The unprecedented things he did to the former president is unprecedented. Foreign policy failure. This is Biden. It has Biden written all over it. Like, the keys may not, I think the keys may not be wrong. The challenge is charisma. Trump has that in spades. The incumbent charisma. Kamala Harris didn't have it. Sorry. Foreign policy successes. I can't name one from the Harris-Biden administration, the Biden-Harris administration, but I can name a lot for Trump's. And this is what I don't get about this Lecter guy. He had essentially a good formula here. He should have been able to accurately predict who's going to be president of the United States. But his liberal bias didn't let him do it. And this is my problem with a lot of these people. A lot of the statements that he was referring to in the intro, it relied upon a lot of authority. No, these people in the positions of authority are saying this. People on CNN said that Donald Trump's claim is misinformation, when in reality, Donald Trump's claim is unproven. And just because something's unproven doesn't necessarily make it a lie. My biggest example of this, if I say that the Golden State Warriors will never win a championship again, we don't have evidence to prove if I'm right or wrong. You have to accept it as just a what? A statement, a claim. But this is not what the mainstream media do. Trump will say something like this, and then they'll come in and say, oh, well, there's no evidence to suggest that this could be true, therefore it's false. No, that's not how it works. Fact check is you found evidence that suggests what someone is saying is either true or false. That's exactly what a fact check is. A fact check, you can't say something is a fact check when the only thing that you fact checking is the fact that evidence does not exist for this to support the statement. That's not a fact check. The fact check is you find something that either validates or invalidates the statement. And this is the type of stuff, this is the type of BS that the mainstream media was allowed to get away with. And this Lecter guy, he just misread it. He interpreted the keys. He didn't look at the keys objectively. I believe I was looking at the keys objectively, and I found reasons to, okay, why do I believe what I believe? Can I find something to justify why I believe that Trump's foreign policy was success? Oh, peace in the Middle East, no new wars. Everyone was on their toes. Everyone was on their best behavior with Trump being in office. Can I compare the other candidate and can I see any semblance of them having foreign policy success? No, they botched the Afghanistan withdrawal, which incentivized more people to feel emboldened to take over territories. Russia took over. China's getting a little frisky with Taiwan. Everything's in disarray. Iran attacked Israel. Israel attacked Iran. You're killing it. Like everything's going crazy. So there is no foreign policy success with Biden. It's simple. All he has to do is look. He's a historian, but he's not looking at history. He's just putting his own interpretation. He's putting his own views on it. And this is the problem with liberals. You guys are too self-centered. And then you want to complain that, oh, it's misogyny and racism. But that's not part of the criteria he's judging upon, right? I don't see racism, misogyny, and disinformation on this list. Now he's making a big deal out of it all of a sudden. Yes, because he was wrong. The keys may not be wrong. He said, my keys are never wrong. Okay, then that means there's something wrong with you. But you think he's going to admit that? No. A liberal will never be that humble. But I digress. I want to leave you all with this 2 minutes of him coping about how he got it wrong. And then I'll wrap up with my final thoughts at the end of the clip. Let's take a look.
The other thing that's unique about this election is the explosion of elements that have always been present, the dark side of American history, but that have been agitated to an unprecedented degree in this election. And I'm talking about racism, misogyny, xenophobia, anti-Semitism, with a woman of color being a particular target. And these things cross ethnic and racial lines. The first xenophobic law in America goes all the way back to 1798. The Alien and Sedition Acts. And guess who the enemy was then? The French, who were ethnically and racially indistinguishable from the settlers in England. Then it's the Jews, the Germans, the Irish, the Mexicans, the Muslims. There's always an other. And, I can give you example after example of how these issues.
No, but look, we get it. I get the concepts. I just want to test the application with the context of what we saw happen in the election. So I stipulate, of course, and I know it makes some people uncomfortable, but race and gender matter in America in choosing leaders.
They always have.
It can be positive. It can be negative. I think sometimes it's a percentage of both, but it's real. I don't dispute that. There's no reason to be ignorant. However, when you look at this, it leads to a suggestion, Professor, that all the white people came out to vote for Trump and not the black woman. We don't really see that
as I explained,
in the
it's
demos.
not limited to white people. That's
right, because black voters didn't come out. The Democrats lost because they underperformed, Alan. The Democrats lost because they underperformed. They misread the main motivators for the voters, and they underperformed. Black women pulled a heavy load for the Democrats again, but they couldn't overcome black men, Latino women, married women, even though reproductive rights matters. It wasn't everything for them. And you saw it in a lot of demos. So can it just be as simple as we're racist?
And this is why I can't stand about these liberals, bro. He was pulling all this stuff out of his boy. Oh, it's misogyny, it's racism. If you look at the history, we live in the least racist time in human history. That means racism played less of a factor than it ever did in the entire history of United States of America. A woman president was even nominated in the first place. No, sorry, appointed by her Democrat elitist. Right? But you want to blame sexism, racism. Okay, bro. Right? And if you look at his keys, like if you just base everything based on his keys, it shows a lack of charisma from who? Kamala Harris. You couldn't galvanize people to come out and vote for you, but you want to blame sexism or racism. Policy agenda. She didn't have it. She didn't have a policy agenda that catered to men. Kamala Harris' campaign was being told that, hey, your messaging is too feminine. So if I want to concede the sexism argument, I can make the argument that the Democratic messaging was too female focused and it alienated the opposite gender. I can make that argument. If you want to play this sexism misogyny game, I can even play the racism angle here. That Kamala Harris said that if you didn't support her, you automatically assume a racist and a misogynist if you're a white person. Make it make sense. These are the people's narratives, and I love the fact that it just crumbles once you give any type of scrutiny to their little delusion that they're having. This little coping session. Oh, our candidate was perfect. Really? She spent $500 million paying people to endorse her, right? Building sets, right? Having Oprah, $1 million, talking to Al Sharpton. In my case, I call him Al Sharpton, $500K to his nonprofits to get a glowing review. Media coverage, if you look at Media Research Center, 85% of media covered Kamala Harris positively while they covered Donald Trump negatively. Is that not misinformation, sir? But you see what you want to see. Perception isn't reality. And you perceive the keys wrong. That AKA, the keys may not be wrong, but you were. How you interpret the keys were wrong. And that's what led to your false prediction. Because your own bias, you let your own bias have a heavier weight in your decision making than the objective fact and historical context behind the keys. But hey, liberals doing what they do best, make excuses. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'd like to hear your thoughts about this in the comment section below. What you think about the historian? You think he's coping? You think is there any validity to what he has to say? I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.